All right, so what can you expect in tier 2? What is tier 2 about? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about tier 2 and a little bit about tier 3. Now, tier 2 is where we're going to not have just a web page as you have now, but a web application. And tier 3 will also have a mobile application. And what you can give this is for your customer a complete solution. Think of it for a minute. You can already help him with his brand. You already designed the graphical user interface. You can help with the SEO. In fact, you can help a lot with SEO, and you can help even more with his brand. And you'll have everything set up so he now have a website. So step 2, tier 2, is to say, all right, now it's time to change this into an application. You haven't lost anything. The graphical design is done. Now it's just time to make it an application, to put some doingness behind it, and so forth. So the first thing that you guys are going to learn is something called APIs. And an API is a way to connect to other things. For instance, you can connect to a database directly without having to go to that database. It's also this CLIs and all kinds of other things, but most of, and we look at all of this, but mostly I can, for example, have an API to Grok, to Kimi, and let some of the stuff on the websites get interactive. If you have the guy's name, for instance, you can say, hey, kin, that name means family. That's a thing that rebels find extremely precious. So I'm sure you are rebellious, and a big part of that is because you want just the best for your family. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at all, but AI can create all kinds of wittiness in a website according to who the customer is. It's a simple example, but that's the use of an AI. It can fill in things in a web page for you automatically. Then we're going to use things like Resend. Resend has a free plan, and you can send hundreds of emails every day up and down the website. For instance, now you can have a form that somebody fills in, and Resend will send that form to you. You can now have newsletter subscribers. The newsletter subscriber's email address will go into a database connected to a newsletter, and he'll receive a witty email once again from Resend. So we're going to use databases, and we're stepping up web development, because up to now we have HTML pages. That is going to be thrown out and be replaced in full with Node.js JavaScript. And it works so that you actually don't even have web pages. Web pages are created on the fly via something called React. So you'll find that with a web page, when you say next page, it brings up a next page. With React, it's an instant change of the page to now look differently. Different cards, a contact form, and so forth. And in fact, you don't even have it to be on the internet because all that files that you call web pages is stored as one big file that just get changed to fit the page that you are looking for. Meaning things like cards become components, buttons become components and so forth. And all these things are just directed like a movie director setting a scene, and that is how web pages are done, and it's called routing. That's the type of stuff that we're going to do. The interesting thing is your front end don't change, but how the front end is generated change. So all the work you've done up till now is perfect. We're just going to tell Cursor, look, instead of HTML, change all this so it is React components. And you won't even see the difference on the website. You'll see it in speed and so forth. So the UI is done. What do we need now to do? The visuals is done. The brand voice is done. So what is left? So it's very much so. Tier 1, you have a great looking brochure of pages. All right. There's nothing it can really do yet. Okay, except showing information. The contact form is not even working. And that's where the application part comes in, where we can now create the databases. We can connect via APIs to things like resend, to send email. You can even have the user to log in, see his shopping cart, see his old orders, see a wish list, have a new shopping cart that he can buy stuff from. And that's just the beginning. How about being able to send newsletters out? As people are added to newsletters, you can use something like MailChimp, but that's going to cost you unnecessary money. When you can start sending out newsletters and even personalize the newsletters according to what people bought in the past. How about that? So there's a lot in Tier 2 that you're going to do to change this graphical user interface to do stuff. You'll find that you now can create extreme to-do note-taking, behind the scenes stuff. You can create dashboards for companies. You can create literally, your imagination is the only limitation. If you're going to add microcontrollers, and you know what, here's the thing, if you weren't planning on doing it and you have a little bit of time left, please just watch the videos, because this opens up even more doors. Because microcontrollers, as I've explained earlier, is the eyes, the ears, and the sensing of the outside world. Facial recognition, temperature, rain, how full is a tank, how empty is a tank, things like that. So now you open up even more doors. Don't worry about buying the microcontroller if you didn't. I'll be happy if you do and you start playing already with it, but at least go through the videos. I hope to change your mind. I hope that I can change your mind in seeing that if you're going to use microcontrollers, that you can even do more. For instance, you might even create a POS system for a company's shop, so you can do all your shop transactions on the POS system. But the minute you also have microcontrollers, you can also give data like how long was a person in the shop, how many people visited the shop, what was the busiest times in the shops, things like that with a microcontroller. So you can give more data, and with more data, people can fine-tune their sales systems, their marketing and branding systems. So step 1 complete, time to build the applications. Now, as a final thing, your application is still just on your computer. There's two things you can do. The first is just send it to me and I'll go through it and so forth, your app, or go to a hosting company like domains.co.za, get a 10 Rand website account from them, take that whole website you created in Cursor and take all those files and move them over onto that hosting platform, and now your site is live. Think of a domain name, register a domain name. Wherever you host will help you, and normally even give you a free domain name for the first year, and you can then host your site. Most of these places you can have 10, 20, 30 websites hosted, depending on what package you're going to buy. But it's easy. You simply get a package and you copy your files over in the Cursor directory that is probably in your documents folder, Cursor project, and then you'll have the folder for that project. Take everything in it and copy it over to your hosting provider. They normally have little applications that says, upload files, and you just go and upload it and it's done, and your site is hosted at 20 Rand per month. But you are in business actually already, and you have a real life showcase of what you can do. So without further ado, finish up, practice. I'll see you in tier 2. We're going to step it up, and this was wow, and it just gets better from here on out. Great that you made it up to here. You've learned a lot, and you already are in business. Bye. I'll see you in tier 2.